everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Young and the Restless spoilers update for Tuesday, March 17th indicate that Jack Abbott will face a crushing blow while Nikki Newman and Victor Newman deal with a terrible crisis in their marriage. After telling Nikki to get out, Victor will refuse to apologize for using Jack as leverage and will resent Nikki for gloating over his rescue. Nikki, on the other hand, will remain outraged over Victor using someone she cares about and turning this into a revenge play. Since Victor told Nikki another woman was with Jack, she may ask more questions about that. Whether Victor admits he brought Patty Williams into this or not, Nikki will ultimately find out and is bound to be even more furious. As for Jack, he won't be able to offer an explanation that fixes his mistake. Jack was clearly drugged, but will he figure that out and use it to explain his out-of-character behavior? Even if Jack does blame the drugs and even Victor for orchestrating this seduction scheme, Diane Jenkins Abbott will still feel a deep sense of betrayal. That's why Diane is about to force a major shake-up at the Abbott mansion. There's a good chance Diane will announce she's moving out, so Jack may realize just how bad this is when she heads for the door with luggage. Although Jack will fight desperately to repair his marriage on Tuesday's Y&R episode, Diane won't be coming around anytime soon. While Jack deals with some heartbreak, Nate Hastings will get hostile with Kane Ashby at Crimson Lights. That's where Nate will blast Kane over Lily Winters and the twins' abduction drama. Kane will be sick of all the lectures at that point, so he'll strike back at Nate and really let him have it. There's no one who wants Lily, Charlie Ashby and Matty Ashby home more than Kane at this point. Kane may try to get under Nate's skin by accusing Victoria Newman of being in on Victor's kidnapping plot, so we'll see how Nate might react to that news. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Kane and Nate have some fierce scenes ahead, so stick with the CBS soap. The storm brewing in The Young and the Restless is about to erupt with painful consequences, and Tuesday, March 17th promises a chapter filled with heartbreak, fury, and dangerous accusations that threaten to tear several lives apart. Deep within the powerful Newman empire, the tension between Victor Newman and Nikki Newman reaches a boiling point that neither of them can ignore any longer. What began as a calculated move in Victor's endless game of control has now turned into a personal betrayal that cuts far deeper than he ever intended. When Victor coldly tells Nikki to leave, his voice carries the weight of wounded pride rather than regret, and it becomes painfully clear that an apology is not coming. Instead of acknowledging the damage he has caused, Victor stubbornly defends his decision to use Jack Abbott as leverage, believing his strategy was justified. Yet Nikki sees something very different, a ruthless act that weaponized someone she deeply cares about simply to satisfy Victor's need for revenge. The more Victor refuses to admit fault, the more Nikki's anger grows, and in that moment, the cracks in their legendary marriage widen into something far more dangerous than either of them may realize. Nikki's outrage doesn't fade as the confrontation continues. If anything, it intensifies with every word Victor speaks. She cannot understand how the man she has stood beside for so many years could turn someone she respects into a pawn in one of his ruthless schemes. The situation becomes even more disturbing when Victor casually reveals that another woman was with Jack during the scandalous incident. That revelation sends Nikki's mind racing, and questions begin to pour out with sharp urgency as she demands to know exactly who Victor dragged into this twisted situation. If Victor admits the truth that Patty Williams played a role in the setup, the fallout will be explosive. And even if he attempts to hide it for now, the truth has a way of finding its way to the surface in Genoa City. Once Nikki learns the full story, the betrayal will strike even harder, igniting a deeper fury that could shake the very foundation of her relationship with Victor. In Nikki's eyes, this is no longer just about manipulation or revenge. It is about crossing a moral line that should never have been crossed. Meanwhile, across town, the fallout crashes down on Jack Abbott like a wave he cannot escape. Despite his attempts to explain what happened, there are simply no words strong enough to undo the damage that has already been done. Jack remembers the night in fragment pieces of confusion and blurred judgment that make little sense even to him. Something about his behavior feels wrong, completely out of character, as if he had been pushed into a version of himself he barely recognizes. The possibility that he was drugged begins to creep into his mind, offering a potential explanation for the reckless situation he found himself in. If Jack can prove that someone tampered with him, perhaps he could expose Victor's manipulation and salvage what remains of his dignity. But explanations, even truthful ones, cannot always mend a broken heart. For Diane Jenkins Abbott, the emotional wound cuts far deeper than any logical explanation can reach. Inside the Abbott mansion, the atmosphere grows thick with betrayal and sorrow as Diane struggles to process what she believes Jack has done. The pain in her eyes reflects not just anger but the crushing disappointment of a trust that feels shattered. For Diane, the man she chose to rebuild a life with has suddenly become someone she cannot fully recognize. Every memory they shared now feels tainted by doubt, and the once warm halls of the Abbott home begin to feel painfully unfamiliar. Then comes the moment that truly drives the gravity of the situation home. Diane quietly begins packing her belongings, each folded piece of clothing symbolizing another step away from the life she built with Jack. When Jack realizes she intends to leave, panic rushes through him like a storm, and the sight of luggage near the door becomes a devastating wake-up call. He fights desperately to convince her that their marriage is worth saving, but Diane's heart is locked behind walls of hurt that won't come down anytime soon. While Jack faces the slow collapse of his marriage, another confrontation is brewing across Genoa City at the familiar cafe known as Crimson Lights. There, the tension between Nate Hastings and Kane Ashby ignites into a heated clash fueled by fear, frustration, and anger. Nate is already on edge because of the terrifying situation surrounding Lily Winters and the horrifying abduction involving her children, Charlie Ashby and Mattie Ashby. The stress of the crisis has everyone desperate for answers, and Nate refuses to stay silent when he believes Kane bears some responsibility for the chaos. His words cut sharply as he blasts Kane over the kidnapping drama, accusing him of mistakes that may have placed the family in danger. But Kane has reached the limit of his patience, worn down by judgment and criticism from every direction. The tension in the cafe thickens as Kane fires back, refusing to accept Nate's lectures any longer and unleashing his own wave of anger. Despite the hostility between them, Kane's pain is unmistakable beneath the anger. No one, he insists, wants Lily and the twins home safe more than he does. The fear of losing them hangs over him like a shadow he cannot escape, and every accusation only deepens the torment he is already feeling. Yet Kane is not about to walk away quietly, and in a moment of calculated retaliation, he delivers a shocking claim meant to rattle Nate to the core. Kane suggests that Victoria Newman may have been involved in Victor's kidnapping plot, a statement that lands like a thunderclap in the middle of their argument. The accusation is explosive, threatening to drag another powerful member of the Newman family into an already tangled web of deception. Nate is left reeling as he processes what Kane has just implied, unsure whether it's a desperate attempt to shift blame or a dangerous truth that could change everything. In a city already drowning in secrets and betrayal, this revelation could spark an entirely new war of loyalties. As the drama unfolds across Genoa City, it becomes painfully clear that no one will emerge from this chapter untouched. Victor's ruthless strategy may have secured the leverage he wanted, but it risks destroying the trust that once anchored his marriage to Nikki. Jack fights to hold on to a love that may already be slipping through his fingers, while Diane walks away carrying the weight of betrayal she cannot yet forgive. At the same time, anger and suspicion continue to rise between Nate and Kane, threatening to explode into an even greater conflict as the kidnapping crisis deepens. Every corner of the city seems to pulse with unresolved tension as secrets swirl and loyalties begin to fracture. And as the next episode approaches, one haunting truth lingers over everyone involved. Sometimes the consequences of a single ruthless decision can ripple outward, shattering lives in ways no one could have predicted. In the world of the young and the restless, the storm is far from over, and the emotional aftershocks are only just beginning. The emotional storm gripping the young and the restless refuses to settle, and as the tension deepens across Genoa City, the fragile bonds between families, lovers, and rivals begin to strain under the weight of secrets that can no longer stay hidden. In the aftermath of Victor's ruthless maneuver, the once unshakable marriage between Victor Newman and Nikki Newman hangs in a delicate and uncertain balance. Nikki's fury does not fade with time. Instead, it burns brighter with every detail she uncovers about Victor's calculated manipulation. The more she reflects on the situation, the more painful the realization becomes that Victor knowingly used Jack Abbott, a man she respects and cares about, as a pawn in a cruel revenge game. Victor's refusal to apologize only widens the emotional gulf between them, his pride standing tall where remorse should be. Nikki cannot comprehend how the man she has loved through decades of triumphs and betrayals could so casually turn someone's life upside down simply to prove a point. What once felt like an unbreakable partnership now trembles under the weight of mistrust, and the silence that follows their argument carries a haunting question. Neither of them is ready to answer. Can their love survive a betrayal like this? As the truth slowly unravels, Nikki's thoughts return again and again to Victor's unsettling claim that another woman had been involved in the scandal surrounding Jack. The revelation gnaws at her conscience, stirring unease that refuses to settle. When she begins pressing Victor for answers, her questions grow sharper, more urgent, because she senses there is far more to the story than he initially revealed. The possibility that Patty Williams may have been dragged into the situation adds another disturbing layer to an already volatile situation. Nikki knows Patty's troubled past, and the mere thought of Victor manipulating someone so unpredictable sends a chill through her. Whether Victor finally admits the truth or attempts to keep parts of the scheme hidden, Nikki's determination ensures the full story will eventually surface. And when it does, the emotional fallout could be devastating, not only for Victor, but for everyone caught in the crossfire of his relentless pursuit of control. Across town, a very different kind of heartbreak unfolds behind the doors of the Abbott mansion, where Jack Abbott finds himself standing on the edge of losing everything he fought so hard to rebuild. The house that once echoed with renewed hope now feels painfully quiet, weighed down by tension and sorrow. Jack desperately tries to piece together the truth behind the disastrous events that led to this moment, his mind replaying every fragmented memory from that night. Something inside him insists that his actions were not truly his own, that something sinister interfered with his judgment. The possibility that he was drugged begins to take shape as more than just speculation, and the thought sends a surge of anger through him as he considers the lengths Victor Newman might have gone to orchestrate this humiliation. But even if Jack proves he was manipulated, the emotional damage has already carved deep scars. Some wounds, especially those inflicted on trust, cannot be healed simply by revealing the truth. For Diane Jenkins Abbott, the pain is almost unbearable, a slow ache that spreads through every corner of her heart as she struggles to reconcile the man she loves with the betrayal she believes she witnessed. She had allowed herself to believe in a fresh start, to trust that the past was finally behind them and that their future together could be different. Now, standing inside the very home they built together, she feels the crushing weight of doubt pressing down on every memory they share. The moment she begins packing her belongings becomes almost symbolic, a quiet, heartbreaking ritual that signals the unraveling of their marriage. Each suitcase that closes represents another piece of the life she thought she could rely on slipping away. When Jack realizes she is truly leaving, panic flashes across his face, and desperation drives him to plead for another chance. But Diane's heartbreak runs too deep for quick forgiveness, and as she moves toward the door, Jack is left staring at the possibility that the love he fought so hard to reclaim may be slipping out of his life forever. Elsewhere in Genoa City, the atmosphere inside Crimson Lights grows thick with tension as two men locked in fear and frustration finally collide. Nate Hastings cannot contain his anger any longer, and when he confronts Kane Ashby, the conversation quickly spirals into a fierce argument. The terrifying kidnapping involving Lily Winters and her children, Charlie Ashby and Mattie Ashby, has left everyone shaken and desperate for answers. Nate's accusations strike with force as he unloads his frustration onto Kane, blaming him for decisions that may have contributed to the unfolding nightmare. The emotional pressure of the crisis hangs over the cafe like a storm cloud, turning every word into a spark ready to ignite. But Kane, already battered by guilt and fear, refuses to stand there and take the blame any longer. His temper finally snaps, and the anger he has been holding inside erupts with explosive force. Beneath Kane's fury lies the raw, undeniable truth of a father's fear. Every moment that passes without news of Lily and the twins feels like an eternity, and the helplessness gnaws at him from the inside. Kane insists that no one in the world wants Lily Winters, Charlie Ashby and Mattie Ashby home safely more than he does. Yet the argument refuses to cool, and in a sharp moment of retaliation, Kane throws out a shocking accusation designed to shake Nate to his core. He suggests that Victoria Newman may have been involved in Victor's kidnapping plot, a revelation that lands with staggering weight. The possibility that another Newman could be entangled in such a dark scheme instantly raises the stakes, threatening to ignite an even larger conflict between powerful families. Nate's reaction is immediate and intense, his mind racing as he tries to determine whether Kane is revealing a dangerous truth or simply lashing out in anger. As the echoes of these confrontations ripple through Genoa City, it becomes painfully clear that the consequences of Victor's actions are spreading far beyond his original intentions. A marriage that once stood as a symbol of strength now trembles on the edge of collapse, while another couple faces the devastating possibility that their love may not survive betrayal. At the same time, fear and suspicion continue to escalate among friends and allies as accusations fly and loyalties are tested. Every revelation seems to pull another thread loose from the delicate web holding their lives together. And as night falls over the city, a quiet tension lingers in the air, hinting that the true fallout from these events has only just begun. In the world of the young and the restless, where power, love, and revenge collide with unpredictable force, the next chapter promises even deeper emotional battles and consequences that may change these lives forever.